Whenever I hear the term third world, I have rewired my brain to think of France, Belgium, Italy, Britain, and others. However, I do not understand why some people get offended by that. I mean, it is common knowledge that the West, led by the United States of America and followed by its European disciples, chose to label themselves as first world based on their own criteria, relegating others to the ranks of second and third world. This is perfectly normal, as in a typical egocentric viewpoint that places oneself first and above the rest. But let's be honest, no one wants to come second. Nevertheless, it doesn't mean we have to accept it. Furthermore, Africa and Africans did not consent to these classifications. In fact, the majority of African countries were still under colonial rules. Listen, I suspect people get offended because they are aware of the negative connotations associated with certain terms. But isn't it interesting that coincidentally, the same groups once classified in the third world category were also deemed to be 3/5 of a human being? However, over the years, this classification has been somewhat muted for what was known as Second World. Muted, but not forgotten. Yet, those they wished to label as Third World, they adopted a term they considered to be slightly more condescending: underdeveloped countries, which implies that we are not yet pleased with your development. Thus, the terminology evolved from Third World to underdeveloped countries. However, over the years, some Africans within our ranks began competing among each other, striving to emulate the best version of Europeans. Now, amused by this spectacle, they decided to be nice by adopting a patronizing kindness, yet maintain the condescending tone. So the terminology evolved from underdeveloped countries to developing nations or developing countries. It's as if to say, you are not on our level yet, but we see your acrobatic attempt to imitate us. I don't know about you, but I've always sensed an undertone of Darwinism in the speed in which they coin these terms. But nowadays, one of the more acceptable terms is low-income countries, or in the layman's term, broke countries. Let's be honest, many in leadership positions across the African continent equate being civilized or modern with distancing themselves as far as possible from anything African. Now, if you think I'm exaggerating, just look at all these tall, ugly buildings rising everywhere in our major cities. You'd think we are beefing with the sun, given how hard we are trying to block it, packing people inside apartments like sardines in the name of modernity without creativity or Africanity. The African continent isn't even a place that should consider high rises as an option for infrastructure or livable homes for Africans. I mean, we live on the world's second largest and underpopulated continent on Earth. It's like the African elephant trying hard to perform in a circus instead of roaming freely in our beautiful savannas, forests, wetland, and deserts across the eastern, central, western, and up in the southern African region. We are shifting from building communities to erecting unfriendly tall structures that resemble those found in Western countries. In fact, someone once said, Africans who imitate the West are the worst imitators of white people. They don't even do it properly. And I tend to agree. Listen, I have more examples, but I am trying to be kind in an unkind manner. But back to my main point. As an African, I consider the African continent the cradle of humanity to be the first world, and the rest can choose where they want to position themselves. I have no problem with that. Now, to those who say the African Diary should have more views and people, I appreciate you for that. But understand this isn't magic. That can only be achieved if you follow, like, share, and engage with the content. No prayers or payment needed. However, regardless of all that, the secret behind my consistency is that I just love what I do. That's it. I don't compete, fight, or steal from anybody. I simply do what I enjoy doing with my authentic self, and that alone keeps me satisfied. Now, let me finish this and finish my coffee.
We, ni nini?